A lot of people want a 15.6-inch laptop, but they don't want to break the bank. We have the Lenovo Ideapad 3 and the ASUS Vivobook. And today we're gonna find out which one of these cheap little machines is the best cheap laptop in the world. Both of these are 15.6-inch full high definition, non-touch laptops. This Lenovo comes with 12 gigs of RAM, but an i3 processor. This one comes with 8 gigs of RAM and an i5 processor. And we're gonna go ahead and do a little comparison. For one of the few times, we're gonna do a little benchmark between those to see what's more important, CPU or RAM. They both come with the Intel UHD graphics cards. And as far as features are concerned, they both have Wi-Fi AC, they've got Bluetooth, they've got webcams built in, and we're gonna show some of that footage later on. And they're just all around pretty good. The ASUS Vivobook has a fingerprint scanner. The Lenovo does not. And neither of them have a Windows Hello compatible camera. Now the thing is that the Vivobook and the Lenovo Ideapad 3 come in a lot of different flavors and variants. So while this Lenovo, for example, doesn't have a backlight on the keyboard, you can get Ideapads that have it. And while it doesn't have a fingerprint scanner or Windows Hello compatible camera, you can get some that do. And the same goes with the ASUS Vivobook. There are just certain feature sets that you can get, different processors, different RAMs, this kind of thing. But that is not our goal today. Today, what we're going to find out is what the better platform is. In other words, if you're out looking for a new, an entry-level laptop, which is the best one that you can get? Let's start with the battery life. I hate to say it, but the Lenovo battery life is a little bit better. Practical speaking, usage-wise, we got about 5 hours on the Lenovo, and we only got about 4 hours on the ASUS Vivobook. Running things like Word documents, YouTube, this kind of stuff. And I was a little bit shocked about that, and I don't think that it has anything to do with the fact that this has an i5. Just simply Lenovo uses a bigger, better battery. A little bit disappointing on the ASUS Vivobook. But that's a little check mark for the Lenovo. Both battery life, or both notebooks don't have exceptional battery life, but they'll certainly get the job done if you need a few hours to crunch without a power supply nearby. Now let's talk about the displays. Both of them come with a 15.6-inch full high definition non-touch display, but they are by no means equal. I don't quite understand what the hell is going on in ASUS's development or engineering design team, whatever it is, but the displays that they use in a majority of their laptops by comparison are garbage. The Lenovo display is it's a little bit warmer as far as the whites are concerned, and you can maybe even tell on camera a little bit. It kind of has a bit of a richer black color as well, but it is a little bit warmer. That said though, it's just a little bit crisper, a little bit sharper, a little bit more pleasant to look at. Like you're gonna enjoy watching computer stuff videos on YouTube on it a little bit more. Whereas the ASUS Vivobook screen, it's a little bit on the cooler side, and there's not necessarily anything wrong with that. But almost all Vivobook screens look like they're just sort of a little muddled. They're not quite as sharp or crisp, or they're a little bit fatiguing on the eyes. And I don't understand. It almost looks like they've kind of got like a coating on the screen. And I don't understand what it is about ASUS and using these cheap panels, but it ruins what is otherwise a very, very fantastic notebook. Because the screen is something you're going to be looking at all day long. They should invest in slightly better panels in these machines. Now, by no means is it a deal breaker for the ASUS Vivobook. They're still fantastic computers, and I recommend them. A lot of bang for your buck. But come on, ASUS, just give us a slightly better display. I know they can't be that fucking expensive. Hey, Lenovo puts the good or better ones in their cheaper machines. So there you have it. There's another check mark for the Lenovo. It has a slightly better screen on it. Neither of these screens are going to be like color calibrated, where you're going to want to do like Photoshop editing or major Photoshop editing, super precise video, color balancing, this kind of stuff. But again, they're good for like web browsing, document creation, this sort of thing. As far as keyboards are concerned, they're at first glance, they're relatively similar. They're both full-size keyboards with the numpad on the right side there. However, and for the first time ever, I've done a typing test, and I got, I think, around 99 words per minute on the Lenovo, and I think I got around like 85 words per minute or something like that on the ASUS. I'll put the actual test on screen, the test results on screen. Anyway, but I did find that when just generally typing on these laptops, the Lenovo probably was a little bit more comfortable. The keys are slightly bigger. They're sort of placed a little bit more logically. And because it has a bigger frame on the laptop, as you can even see here in the video, it's because it's a slightly bigger frame, it's just kind of got more room and feels a little more comfortable to type on. The ASUS Vivobook laptop or keyboard is very good, and again, it has a backlight on it. You can get Ideapads that have it, this one doesn't. But the point is that it's just not quite as nice to type on as Lenovo. Not a deal breaker again, but if we're gonna talk about which one's the better one, the Lenovo, yet again, gets another check mark. Now let's talk about trackpads. Both, I would say, are about identical. The Lenovo trackpad doesn't have a fingerprint scanner. It is just a hair bigger than the ASUS trackpad. Neither of them ghost terribly bad, although the ASUS does ghost a little bit more than others. I think that ASUS has begun to calibrate their trackpads a little bit better out of factory, because we've noticed, well, the first slew of Vivobooks that came out had like, I mean, it felt like the cursor was on ice. It just, you slide it over and it just kept on going kind of where it pleased. You know, there was no real precision to it. The Lenovo, on the other hand, does a really good job about distinguishing left and right click. Suffers maybe a little bit from it, but it overall does a good job. Same thing with the ASUS trackpad, and again, it doesn't ghost quite as bad. So I think I'm gonna give these both like an equal check mark to both of them. They're both, and as far as size is concerned, they're like pretty more relative as far as trackpad size is concerned. None of them are this big Apple trackpads, but they're good and they'll get the job done. What are both computers made from? Well, they're both really kind of just made from cheap plastics. The Lenovo Ideapad, I had somebody comment on another video about hinge quality in laptops, and I would say, frankly, I'd be a little bit concerned about the hinges in the Ideapad. Some laptops have a propensity, mostly HPs, have a propensity to basically tear the hinge from the plastic frame of the laptop, and then you just get this kind of flappy, non-usable laptop. And they're kind of an expensive repair. Anyway, most manufacturers have resolved the issue of hinges breaking away from the laptops, but I kind of don't really trust the Lenovo's hinge quality all that much. I think that if you're a student or if you're somebody that's kind of abusive to the laptop, you're gonna get better longevity from the ASUS. Again, plastic quality, they're both about the same, and I think the overall frame of the laptop can take both of them can take some abuse, but just from an overall build quality standpoint, I'm gonna go ahead and give it to the ASUS Vivobook on this one. So in other words, if you're somebody that's delicate and playful and sweet to your laptop, I think Lenovo is gonna be okay. But if you're somebody that's abusive to their laptop and you just throw it into a backpack and you whip the hinges open, I think you're gonna have a little bit of a better experience with the ASUS Vivobook. So that's a win for the ASUS. Speaker quality. Interestingly enough, the ASUS wins on this one too. Neither of these speakers are particularly great. They don't get particularly loud, but neither of them have a huge amount of distortion. It's just overall the sound quality of the ASUS Vivobook is a little more pleasant to the ears. The Lenovo sounds a little bit more laptop-y, a little tinnier, not a lot of characteristic to the sound. So the ASUS Vivobook does win in the speakers, but only by a small hair. You're gonna want headphones for pretty much either of these notebooks. And if you're like in a loud room, you probably won't even be able to hear the ASUS Vivobook. What they did is they calibrated the speakers and made them a lot quieter just so they wouldn't pop and have distortion. But that kind of allowed them to give it a little bit of better balance to the speakers as well. Nevertheless, ASUS Vivobook does win in this category, but only by a skosh. You're really gonna want headphones for both of these laptops. As I said, both of these come with webcams. The Lenovo has a privacy shutter baked into its webcam. The Lenovo just leaves you naked and vulnerable. But this is what the webcam quality looks like on both of these machines. Now, this is what the webcam footage looks like on the ASUS Vivobook. Here's what the webcam footage looks like on the Lenovo Ideapad 3. Now let's talk about input and output on these bad boys. So the ASUS Vivobook comes with 2 USB regular ports on the side. I thought that was really a cheap move on their part. USB Super Speed, where you charge it because it doesn't run on solar energy. HDMI, USB-C. That was nice that they added USB-C. Dual headphone audio mic jack, and then a mini camera card reader. Whereas the Lenovo comes with 2 USB Super Speeds, USB 2.0, HDMI, where you charge it because it doesn't run on solar energy either. Dual headphone microphone jack, and a full camera card reader. Frankly, the I/O on either of these machines isn't particularly stunning. I don't know why the cheaper laptop. So first off, when these manufacturers build these laptops, they have to license these ports out. So I just don't understand why I don't get the decision-making process in some of these input outputs. Nevertheless, I'm gonna give it to the ASUS maybe, because it has that USB-C port. I'm not even gonna give a check mark or a win to either of them. I'm gonna let you decide which one you think is better. So after recording this video and editing it, I gave it some more thought, and I do think I'm gonna give the win to the ASUS Vivobook with the input output for the sole reason that it has USB-C. The input and output on both systems are fairly similar, but the Lenovo chose not to give it USB-C at all, which I think in today's day and age is a little bit of a misstep considering so many devices are going towards USB-C. Anyway, I'll let you decide still what you think is best. And then for one of our last and final tests, I'm gonna do a benchmark on these things. A lot of you ask me for benchmarks, and rarely do I deliver on it because I don't think it's important. But because these are so similarly equipped, I'm gonna go ahead and knock out a benchmark on these things. That way you can see the difference between better CPU, better RAM. We're gonna go from there. The other thing to note, both of these come with 256 gigabyte NVMe solid state drives. Very good, very fast. Both can be equipped with 512s, 1 terabytes, and they are, I'm not gonna say they're user changeable, but like if you brought it to a computer shop or something like that, hint, hint, then we could, definitely a professional could change out the NVMe drive. So here we have the ASUS Vivobook, and it gets 1652 on Cinebench, and that is better than the Lenovo's 999 points. And basically what that shows us is that yes, the i5, even with less RAM, is better and faster. So, Chris, which one of these laptops should I buy? The ASUS Vivobook or the Lenovo Ideapad 3? Well, gun to my head, I think I like the Ideapad platform better than the ASUS Vivobook. The thing is that you can get both of these laptops in a variety of different shapes, sizes, colors, and specs, but the ASUS Vivobook across the board will always have that bad screen. Whereas you can get an Ideapad with a USB-C port or an i5 processor, but it will have a better screen in it. And sure, it's a little bit bigger than the ASUS Vivobook, and it's not quite as nimble or lightweight, but it's just all around a more comfortable laptop to kind of use and be around. And chances are these things are both going to be sitting on top of your desk plugged into an outlet because the battery life isn't that great on either of them. So that's why I think that the Ideapad is a better all-around platform. So who are these computers for? Well, I think they're probably for people like accountants that need like data entry with that full-size keyboard, people that are really into productivity software like nonprofits or small businesses. Basically somebody that just needs a cheap laptop to sit on their desk and they can have a ton of Firefox and Chrome tabs open while churning out documents in Word, Excel, PowerPoint, these kinds of things. I don't really think Photoshop editors are gonna get a whole lot of use out of it either. Again, the screen quality on the ASUS isn't quite good enough, and I think you're gonna want something maybe a little bit more powerful or premium if you're doing like maybe on-site photography, editing, this kind of stuff. I think you can do a little bit of light gaming on it, maybe like Minecraft, Roblox, this kind of thing, but you're definitely not going to want to play any kind of AAA heavy-hitting titles, and you're definitely not going to want to do any kind of 4K video editing on it either. But if you had to do like some 1080p, less than 10-minute videos in a pinch, you certainly could. But I think this is like the perfect laptop for like your grandmother that just needs something for like email and internet, and you know, that just the occasional Word document, just and like Skype phone calls too. COVID phone calls, COVID calls. So that's who it's for. It's just sort of a cheap all-around good notebook. I do like the Ideapad platform better than the ASUS Vivobook platform, but I think both laptops are good and you're going to enjoy either of them if you get to one or the other. Just probably get whichever one is cheapest. Anyway, so that pretty much does it. That is the ASUS Vivobook and the Lenovo Ideapad 3. Which one do you think is better? Let us know in the comments section. Please like and subscribe. And we will be back with another video real soon.